At McCarty Family Farms, we take a pretty broad approach to sustainability, and we go to great lengths to try to support biodiversity wherever we can. So across our farms, we try to use cover crops, minimum till or no-till to bring biodiversity to the soil. We try to bring additional benefits to just Mother Nature itself by using even simple things like bird boxes, bug boxes, bat houses. We also utilize things like pollinator habitat. Our future and our livelihood depends on having a vibrant ecosystem around us. So it's our job and our responsibility to try to benefit that as much as we possibly can. The goal on our farm is to reuse water as many times as we possibly can. So our flush system accomplishes a few different things for us. Number one, it cleans our barns. It also cools our barns. That water ends up traveling through a gravity sand settling lane, which allows the heavier sand to settle out, which we then collect, dry, and reuse back as sand bedding in our freestall beds. Then the water and the manure solids travel through a screener press system, which allows us to capture the manure solids out, which we can then reutilize as dried fertilizer sources for our crop fields. And then the water portion ends up in our lagoons. And ultimately, after it's reused through that process to keep our barns clean through many times, it ends up as supplemental irrigation water back on our fields. What that means is that we actually pump groundwater up and water our crop fields with a center pivot irrigation system. So we use almost no commercial fertilizers on the ground that we can apply that water to because it's so heavy in nutrients that our crops needs. That can obviously consume a lot of water. So we deploy a great deal of technology to try to minimize the amount of water that we have to use to grow our crops. So things like soil moisture probes help us apply the right amount of water at the right time. And we work with independent crop consultants that help us analyze and grow the right kind of crop for this area that is the least water thirsty crop that we can grow for our farms. How we harvest crops and what we do with crops really depends on what that crop is and what its future use is going to be. We harvest the entire plant and we chop it up into about 3/4 inch pieces, stack it in a big pile, drive over top of it with very heavy equipment to squeeze all the air out, and then we cover it with plastic and allow it to ferment. In essence, we're creating cow sauerkraut, for lack of a better term. But then if we were to harvest dry corn to feed as grain to our cows, we work with local farmer partners to grow and harvest our crops. That's going to be stored in large silos, and then when we're ready to use it on farm, we grind it into basically a flour that allows our cows to better utilize that nutrient source, and that gets mixed into our total mixed ration and fed out in front of the cows. Sustainability isn't a journey that we can take by ourselves, so we work with our partners up and down our value chain to help us advance our mission towards sustainability. Partners like our freight partner in that we try to improve fuel efficiency and increase the aerodynamics of our truck and tractor fleets. I work with our rolling stock partners to help us minimize the greenhouse gas emissions of our tractors and our loaders. We work with our genetics company to try to improve the methane efficiency of our cattle. Any partner that we can engage with to help us advance sustainability and decrease our environmental impact on our farms, we engage with those partners.